Okay, so I'm back, and this is going to be showing you round 4 of the ear warmer part. And this would be the same concept for the cowl, since they're constructed similarly, is that a word? Anyways, so just to touch back to what I told you in my foundation double crochet video, you will see that the beginning foundation double crochet and the end foundation double crochet has a little gap right here. So that's why we left the long tail, because at the end we are going to sew these together so that you do not see that gap. And I am using the Mandala Tweed Stripes by Lion Brand in the color Ladybug if you're interested. I didn't want to show you the foundation double crochet with a variegated yarn because I think it's impossible to see your stitches when it comes to learning something new. But for this particular set, I am using the Mandala Tweed Stripes, which they have some really gorgeous options. I will say a tip to those of you who might use Mandala yarns for projects like this. I am creating a ear warmer and cowl set with this one skein, and there will probably be some left over. It is amazing. There's a lot of yarn on it, but because of that, you will have to forcibly change color. So this is rounds 1 through 3 of the ear warmers, and I did go ahead and forcibly change colors. And what I mean by that is I clipped my yarn pretty close to the end, and I used a magic knot to join the next color. So I cut the yarn, set it to the side, rolled up the rest of this particular color, and set it to the side. I mean, y'all, this is how much I had left. I have huge hands. This is a big ball of yarn considering, and if I hadn't cut the yarn, this would pretty well be the entire ear warmer, and I want it to be interesting. So I went ahead and rolled this up till the next color, and then I joined it with a magic knot, which, by the way, if you've never learned a magic knot, stop what you're doing and go learn it. It was life-changing for me as much as I change colors. And then also kind of keep an idea, unless you want to change the sequence of colors, of which color comes next when you forcibly change colors, because you're going to use that for the cowl, or at least I am going to be using this for the cowl. And if I forcibly change colors again, then I will set it to the side and try to keep an idea of which colors came first, which of course you could just look at it. But anyways, I wanted to show you how I do the next round. It is kind of confusing. If you have bought my Queen Beanie pattern, the concept is the same. Now for those hat patterns, I work from the top down to the brim. Realistically, you could work a hat from the brim up. With this concept, I just don't particularly care for it. I don't think it's as clean, but if you're a brim up kind of gal or guy, you could totally use this concept. I guess basically just create the brim however many rows, and then do it till your hat measures about 9 inches or 11 inches if you're going to make it slouchy, and then use a running stitch and close it off at the top. But I personally think that the way that I made the hats top down, it just has a better shape overall, and I just like top down hats a little bit better just because of the shape of them. But you know, this is a great way to actually make the hat from the brim up. Either way, this is going to be ear warmers. Sorry for rambling. So this particular row, we are going to be starting our pattern. Now with the honeycomb stitch, or however you want to call it, it's really a front post treble 2 together. You have to have post to join 2 together. So that's why we created this ribbing at the bottom, because we're going to actually be working through these front post double crochets from 2 rounds below to create the pattern, the beginning pattern, I should say. So you're going to half double crochet like I tell you to begin the pattern. And then this is where it gets a little tricky, okay? You are going to be working backward and forward when you are front post trebling 2 together. So remember, those chain 2s don't count as a stitch from the beginning of the rounds, so don't make the mistake of counting them. So the last front post double crochet of the round is actually way back here. So you're going to yarn over twice and go through that post 2 rounds below and backwards. You're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. You're going to leave the remaining 2 loops on your hook so that you can actually, we're joining 2, so you need them. Okay, and then here's the tricky part. We wouldn't get the pretty pattern if we went here. So we are going to skip this next front post double crochet and go into the post of the next one to finish our join of front post trebling 2 together, okay? So you're going to yarn over twice, put it in that post from 2 rounds below, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and so now we have this front post treble and this front post treble, and we're putting them together, so yarn over and go through all 3. This will make that point that you see in the pattern. And because we created a stitch, we need to skip a stitch. So we're going to half double, skipping that stitch behind it in the next one. And then if you're following the pattern, half double in the amount I tell you. Okay, also tricky. You can see the front post double crochets if you look closely. So for every time you front post treble 2 together, you're going to yarn over twice and you're going to work backwards first. So I'm going to work backward into the same one that I did a moment ago. You will always be sharing these posts when you work backwards, except for the first one, and even at the end you'll be sharing it with the last one. Okay, and so you see I have these front post double crochets here. I'm going to skip the next one and then finish my front post treble 2 together in the next one. And I'll walk you through it verbally again. I'm sorry I didn't that time. Yarn over to make your half doubles and skip that stitch because we created a stitch. So we're going to do the pattern repeat. And if you look closely, you will see I skipped this front post double crochet from 2 rounds below and this front post double crochet from 2 rounds below. And so basically, you're going to be front post trebling 2 together like that. It's really, really easy once you get the hang of it. So we're going to yarn over twice, going backward into the one we just did. Pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and then we're going to skip the next front post double crochet from 2 rounds below, yarn over twice, go into the next one, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3. We created a stitch, so we need to skip a stitch, and then continue in this fashion to the end. Like I said, you will actually be sharing this front post double crochet at the end. And also make sure you pay attention to what I tell you to do in the last stitch of this particular round so that you don't accidentally decrease. All right, I hope this helps.